audio is very faint.
There's feedback echo.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Please do confirm you can hear me okay. I need feedback. Can you confirm you can hear me okay? especially my guest for today. So if you can hear me loud and clear, please do let me know. Okay, so if you can hear me, thanks for joining this fantastic session, and I will be uh, in the series of STEM Academy.io STEMinars, where we'll be sharing knowledge with key specialists in different subject areas of STEM. You will also have the opportunity to ask those specialists we're inviting into this webinar series questions on how you can navigate your career into different fields of STEM. Not only that, they will be sharing their stories, how they have journeyed from where they were when they didn't know much about each of their field of expertise, and how they are able to make it where they are today. We'll also use the opportunity to get their insight and knowledge around opportunities there are in the different STEM fields, how you can turn your skills into money. So without taking too much of your time, waiting for my host to, okay, so basically I will quickly introduce myself. My name is Musa Muhammad. Um, I'm the co-founder of Brainiac STEM and Robotics, and then also STEMacademy.io, among other business interests that I have in technology. And as I indicated earlier, I have strong passion for STEM education, and I think it provides an opportunity for our younger generation to make good careers in the future, and then also develop solutions that can help our community. My guest for today is the CEO of Brainiac STEM and Robotics, who is also equally a developer in the field of who is also a UI UX developer. So without taking too much time, I will let him just quickly say a word or two before we take a message from our sponsor. So, Mr. Clifford, please, over to you. Tell our guests a few things about yourself and your journey before we now take a message from STEMacademy.io, who is our host for today. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for the wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. Kindly confirm if you can hear me, please. You could just type it in the message box.
I can hear you loud and clear. Go for it.
Okay, good. So I'm Clifford Ajefo. So I currently manage operations at Brainiac STEMs and Robotics. So I'm currently working on publishing of a mobile game that's focused on African mythology. And it's under the mentorship of EA Director and Sadiq Bakayoko, that's the CEO of Paradise Games and also Maliyu Games. So I also have an array of creative projects currently in the pipeline, like an Afro animated series. Maybe next slide, please. Okay, so I think that's just about it for now. That has been my journey in the creative field and all. So thank you very much.
Oh, okay. So thanks for that wonderful introduction, and I think this series is surely going to be an exciting one. We'll be hearing from a lot from Clifford and his experiences and journey. But before we go into the crux of the matter, I will hand it over to STEMacademy.io so that they can tell us also about what their platform is all about and how you can also take advantage of it, either as an instructor or a student. So STEMacademy.io, I don't know who is going to be taking your presentation for you. So if you're all ready for it, please go ahead and take us through your presentation.
Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so STEM Academy is a virtual academic platform that offers blended learnings and an instructor-led curriculum
So Azomta, it looks like you have joined with two devices near each other, and you can hear interference. So if you can disconnect one and take us through with one, that would be fantastic. Thank you very much. Go ahead. So it looks like the message from STEM Academy is not coming forward. So I think what we'll just do is I will skip that for a minute and just go straight to your own presentation, Clifford, so that you can just set the scene before we can now invite people to begin the question sessions. And as we did promise, this series comes with a lot of goodies as well. So we will also be throwing out quiz questions, and then for an opportunity for people that are able to get the right answers, maybe to win some goodies from STEMacademy.io. So Clifford, over to you. Take us through your intro presentation, and at the end of it all, then we can take the questions, and then that way people will get to hear about you and what has been your journey so far. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. So the theme for today's program is the fluency of idea for creative trajectories. So in simpler terms, we're trying to see how we can leverage on our creative ideas to drive a digital economy. So I've been in the creative space for about 7+ years, and I would like to talk about my approach when it comes to design philosophy. Okay, the slide is here to be up, okay, but I'll go on. So I like to quote a Japanese philosopher. He goes by the name Yanagi Soetsu. He once said that simplicity is the key to good design, and you should ensure to eliminate any form of unnecessary clutter. So every design idea should be simple, and because you're trying to communicate a message with your audience. So every form of ambiguity should be removed from any design you're working on. So as a creative, that should be your key. Your key should be simplicity. So when it comes to my design approach, I like to follow more of a fluidity when it comes to a creative approach in working on design projects. So another Japanese designer, he goes by the name Oki Sato. He once visited the School of Milan, and he saw architects that were designing teacups, and interior designers were working on car designs.
Looks like we lost you there also, Clifford, if you can still hear me.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. I don't know whether it's from my own end, but go ahead, please.
Okay, good. So I'm talking about my design approach. So when it comes to design approach, I like adopting what is known as a fluidity approach when it comes to design. So there's this Japanese designer, his name is Oki Sato. So he once visited the School of Milan, and in the School of Milan, he saw architects designing teacups and interior designers designing form factor for cars. And he was wondering, an architect, what is he doing with teacup? And he got to realize that design should be borderless. There is this borderless approach because as a designer, as a creative, you need every form of ideas so you can have this cross-pollination of ideas. So it helps create that fluidity whereby you could take ideas from another field and adopt it to any field you're currently working on. So I believe that every form of design should be borderless, because if design is borderless, it creates the enabling ground for innovation. I also love music very much. I love, but I don't really do mainstream. I do more of independent artists. So one key thing about independent artists is that there is this fluidity when it comes to their creativity. They tend to explore beyond the constraints of what they are currently working on. So there's this free approach. So I believe that every design should be borderless. All right, so on creative novelty, how I got into game design. So I've always looked for a way of expressing my passion for storytelling, music, animation, and coding. And game design provides an avenue to integrate all of this creatively. Please kindly confirm if you can hear me. Hello.
Yeah, please mute your mic if you are not the one speaking. I think I can see Zara speaking about Atarugu and also. Please, if you can mute your mic, that would be fantastic.
All right. So thank you very much.
Go ahead, Cliff. Yeah.
All right. So for creative novelty, I've always looked for a way to fuse my passion for storytelling, music, animation, and coding. And game design provides an avenue to integrate all of this creatively. Now, game design at its core is a creative process. So it requires layers of creative inputs that involves coming up with ideas, developing these ideas into working solutions using existing technology, also publishing and engaging the audience with your solution. So the process requires some sort of cognitive inputs, such as imagination, thought process, and human perspective. All right, next slide, please. All right. So the gaming industry, so the total global revenue of the gaming industry is about $104 billion. Now, this is what's more combined. If you combine the music and the movie industry, it's not up to $104 billion. Now, Africa accounts for about $590 million, and this is less than 1% of the $104 billion. Now, globally, we have about 2.7 billion persons playing games. Now, how can we leverage on this current market, on this gaming industry to drive our digital economy? So imagine pulling a part of that $104 billion into our current economy and what it's going to look like. Hello? All right.
So go ahead. We're with you. We're following.
Okay, good. So I know the question is why gaming? How can gaming drive our digital economy? How can gaming enhance a digital economy? So I know, so gaming and storytelling actually goes hand in hand. So if we look at the variation of our ethnic groups in Nigeria, just recall what I said earlier, gaming and storytelling goes hand in hand. And if we look at the variation of ethnic groups we have in Nigeria, so this creates a ground for what's known as narrative complexity. So in simpler terms, the cultural diversity we have in Nigeria provides a limitless pool of creative resource that we can leverage on to engage both the local and international markets. So like I said earlier, the cultural diversity we have in Nigeria creates a limitless pool of creative resources that can be leveraged on to engage both the local and international market. So we have various ethnic groups, various cultures. All of this we can leverage on their creative resource to drive engagement with both the local and international community. So we've already been doing that through music and movies. But if you combine both the music and the movie industry, it's not up to the potential that the gaming industry currently have, which is $104 billion. Now, if we move forward to explore what the gaming industry has to offer, thereby infusing our cultural folklore into driving the narrative of the current games that we have, we can very well benefit from that $104 billion. And that amount is looking to grow exponentially as the time goes on. Our current generation, the younger generation, they are much more like, they like playing games. So you see, that's a market we can use in engaging the younger generation. So I would stop here to take any other question. Any question? Thank you very much.
All right. So good intro, and I think it's really apt and timely as well. And some of the points you raise are very interesting. How you can use gaming to tell your own story, and then how our diversity becomes a source of strength uh, for Nigerian game designers and also the entire African continent, I guess. And then surprisingly, also the context around how the gaming market is even bigger than the music and the movies that we all thought may have done a lot of, have really penetrated the global audience, yeah, which is more like, I think our biggest export apart from oil and gas out of Nigeria, I think, is music and movies, hypothetical. But I think
Yes,
before
yes.
we get into the crux of that, I think Teresa has her first quiz question. Do you want to take that right now? If you can throw away one question so that we can start stimulating the interest of everybody, then we can come back to Clifford now and then take his, begin to ask him questions now. I have a few of them that I've penciled down, and then we'll also allow the audience also to come in with that. But Teresa, if you are not ready, I can go ahead with the
No,
questions
yes,
while
we're
I.
good. We're good. The question
Okay.
is actually up. So we'll just
Okay.
project. So good afternoon, everyone. So we'll just go straight to the slide that has the Menti code, so everybody can just go to menti.com. So you could quickly just go to menti.com.
So a lot of good prizes, guys. Don't disappoint me. I'm making this personal commitment to everybody. Yes. That
so you can
at
either
least the top 3. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Go ahead, Teresa.
Okay. Yeah, so you can either scan the QR code or just go to menti.com and then put in that code that is being displayed on the screen. So your speed.
If it is okay, I can call the code for people. It's 82671628. 82671628. That's the Menti code. Okay. So So while we're on that, Mr. Clifford, I think you should start getting ready. I have a few questions that I want to maybe start thinking about how to approach. For example, you did mention that design should be borderless. Can you just elaborate a little bit about what you mean by that?
Okay. Thank you on that. So when I mean design should be borderless, I would like to use, let's say, a music industry, for example, as an example. So these are all creative. These are all creative fields. So let's categorize it under one of the creative, a subset of the creative field. So for the music industry, they have a certain template if you're signed up to a record label. So you're meant to follow that template. The template has your image, what your sound will look like, and what kind of message you're putting out there. But for an independent artist, they have this flexibility to express themselves creatively, given that they are not restricted to use that template. So in this way, they can go beyond what is currently expected and try to explore. In that way, it gives them this creative fluidity. And also, as a creative, like I mentioned earlier, when Akisatsu visited the School of Milan, he saw architects designing teacups, because most times, most designs, if you're working on a specific design to solve a specific problem, the design might end up actually doing something else. So you need a variety of ideas to give you that. There's something known as it's known as cross-pollination of ideas. So you need all of those coming together to give you that luxury, so that you can leverage on all of these key ideas you're getting from these various fields in order to design a solution that addresses whatever challenge you're looking to design for.
All right, good points raised. So just curious, I mean, did you study game design or anything specific to design in the university, or how did you get into this field? And you are still able to
Yeah,
excel in
yeah.
it. How did you get into it so that people understand, like, where are the barriers to entry, so to speak?
Okay, that's a very, very interesting question. So I'm actually a geology major. I studied geology. So I had this interest when I was young, like doing one thing consistently, actually, it bores me. I get really bored and tired with it. So I started looking for ways at which I could I call myself a polymath. So I got into coding, I got into art, digital art. I also did a bit of animation, and that way I saw myself gravitating towards the creative field, because the creative field would require you to work on a lot of things. It requires you to explore beyond the confines of your current domain. Um, so I had to like started learning on my own. I had to do like some self-study, worked a bit, and this is how I found myself in the creative industry. So I like it in a way whereby it pushes me out of my comfort zone. It helps me explore beyond what I currently know, and it gives me that drive and that push. So I didn't really study design in school, but I had a passion for it, and I followed that passion through. So that's what actually got me here. And game
So if
design,
yeah.
okay.
So sorry to continue, if I really get you correctly, that the key ingredients that an individual really needs to excel in any career is passion and determination, so to speak. You don't necessarily have to spend 5 years studying that in the university, and you can
Yes.
flip and pursue a passion you have based on the talent that also God has given you. And I think it's a common denominator around, where sometimes people get to study certain courses, but then at the end of the day, maybe never get to practice, in those fields. And I think that's kind of the journey that you are describing to us. So now that you've said that, and you actually took yourself to develop your own skills in this field, just talk to me a little bit about the tools. What are those softwares, tools, or whatever I need, an individual will need to study to give he or she a good starting point, you know, into the field of either game design or anything in creativity, so to speak.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So, for the context of this conversation, I'll stay within the confines of game design. So, for game design, I know currently gaming is currently looked at as a mindless form of endeavor, given that there's really no much. There's really no much. What's that term I'm looking for now? People don't really know the potential behind gaming. Um, so although it involves a lot of creative skills, yeah. So for gaming, you have to have like a variety of creative skills to go into gaming. Now, you need to at least have some form of basic knowledge in digital arts. So you know how to use Adobe Illustrator. If making a digital art is an issue for you, you can always leverage on getting assets from maybe Unity Play Store, or collaborating with some artists to get to your digital art. So you need some form of basic coding, which is like C#, because for you to work with a gaming engine such as an Unity engine, you will be working with C# concurrently in order to program your digital arts to do specific actions. And you need like a grounded level of understanding in making use of the Unity engine. I think the lowest engine you can make use of now to develop a game is that, like the Unity engine. That's like a beginner's level. For you to develop a game that can be published on Play Store, so you need an idea on Unity engine. But before you get into Unity engine, there's a grounded knowledge you need. At least there are basic tools such as Kodu. So Microsoft has this tool known as Kodu Game Design. So it makes you understand the concepts behind game mechanics. It gives you that grounded understanding. Although you can develop your solution on Kodu, you cannot really publish those solutions. So it's more like a learning tool that gives you your grounded understanding. Now, another thing I would like to touch on is when you're looking at focusing on the career path, especially when it comes to gaming, there are a lot of resources on the internet, but the resources are not really structured to give you that guided learning that is expected. For example, you're a beginner and want to go into gaming. How do you get into gaming? Where do you really start from? What are the key prerequisite knowledge you need to have before you make your leap and start going into gaming? So I think this is where I would recommend you subscribing to a program. We currently have one at STEMacademy.io. It's a cohort program that focuses on developing beginners on game development. So it takes you through the beginners to the proficient stage, and you get access to industrial expert that would guide you through. You have access to mentors, and it just has a seamless process that's structured to take you through the key career paths you need to get into the gaming industry. There are a lot of opportunities there. If you go to artstation.com and look at their job requirements, all of the gaming arts there, they all have overseas relocation on it, and it pays. It's very. I don't want to start mentioning the pay an entry-level game developer ends at this point. So let's keep it at that.
So let's keep it simple, because I've heard you mention quite a number of tools. I've heard Adobe Illustrator, I've heard C# and Unity, but then also you did mention that I could also start learning with Kodu, Scratch, and all those simple ones that perhaps could allow me to learn, but maybe not necessarily creating an opportunity for me to generate any revenue from my work, because I may not be able to publish it in Play Store and all that. So for me, that's all complicated, and I don't want to go into that route, right? Because it sounds so technical. But the part that I really want us to explore a bit further is, you did mention that culture, that diversity, storytelling, which means technically, even if I don't have any of these skills you did mention, but I have a good story, I know something about, I remember this work we tried to do with this, some kind of African superhero, right? I know something happening in my village. Tell me about what's the name of that festival in Lagos? EU, or was it the one that they have the bowler hats with white gown and all that? So I have a good story, and I can hire a developer to work with me to mature this into something meaningful. So that's the part I want to talk about. Talk about people that don't have a lot of skills, but they are connected to their communities and they know what is happening. Do they have opportunity in getting into this if they can team up and partner with other people?
Yes. Like I did mention earlier, storytelling is a part of game development, and every gameplay needs a story to drive it. So we have a variety of cultures in Nigeria, and these cultures can be explored, and most of their narrative can be told in music, movies, and also games. So if you very well know how to engage an audience, you're very well, you understand storytelling, you know how to create a story around a certain culture. Yes, you can engage developers. There are developers you can engage both locally and internationally to help you develop a solution using your story. They could help you tell your story through games. So all they need to do is manage the whole technical part of it while you infuse the story inside of it. I'm currently working on this game though. It's focused on African mythology. It talks about Ogun, talks about Shango and all of them. So I just took my storytelling passion and I actually forced myself to learn the skills. But if the skills is too much for you to learn, yes, you could work with a team of game developers to help you tell your story. And there's an international market currently looking for African stories, because if you go to Play Store, there's a limited number of gaming solutions that has the African narrative or the African context to it. So everything is more like a recycled international narrative, and that market is currently saturated. So yes, I think we could explore. Yeah.
Okay, good point, Reese. And I think I will start prepping the audience maybe to start posting your questions on the chat. So at any point in time, Teresa, please do help me keep an eye on that side. So if there are questions coming up, then we can pick them from there. Someone has his mic open and he's not speaking. I don't think it's me. Okay, maybe there is a person called Lawal. Rido Lawal. If you can mute your mic, please, that would be helpful.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Yeah, okay. No worries, no worries. Yeah. Okay. So excellent. I think I like the pitch. But okay, now let me take another dimension to this, Clifford. I don't want to pay for STEM Academy training. And that's a position I've taken. The STEM Academy considering creating platforms like you just described, where people can come while they're learning, they're helping STEM Academy come up with a game or something like that. The STEM Academy, because guys like you are there, will be able to put this into the market. And when the revenue comes in, maybe they can even give me some revenue, because how many people can afford the kind of money that you did mention, right? Why don't we look for an alternative approach to this? Is that something you think that is viable in this? We take a young group of young people, they come up with a story, and you are mentoring, and rather than they paying you, at the end of the day, they work with you. If you create something, fine, you even give them something back. Why not? I think that's the kind of solutions Africa is looking for. Not just pay money. Yeah. So what do you think about such an idea? If you can elaborate.
Yes. So we currently have a program in STEM Academy. We have a boot camp for game design, hopefully coming up next year. So we believe that talents are distributed like evenly. And if we do not also give attention to other persons that are unable to afford the STEM Academy package, I think we would very well be shortchanging access to great talents that we currently have in Nigeria, because we have a lot of manpower resource. And yes, we have a program in place that would take a group of dedicated and disciplined individuals and see them through a process where they would ideate a solution based on an African narrative using the existing technology. And at the end of this bootcamp program, the solution would be deployed on Play Store, and these individuals can actually earn from this solution. So the solution, they can actually earn from the solution that's been deployed on Play Store, either through Google Ads or in-app purchase. Yes, we have a list of that program currently in the pipeline for 2023, and details concerning that program will be shared during this session. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Teresa, any questions from the audience? Is there anybody that wants to ask? If you can allow people to ask questions there, please do raise your hand if you want to ask a question, or you type it on the chat. I can always pull you in to ask your question. So I'll keep going until I see any specific interest from the group. Okay. All right. If you want to ask your question, please do raise your hand. So just a little bit around revenue now. I know that earning if people are able to come together, you said it's viable. They could work together in teams, work with you as a mentor to come up with So if these games are published in whatever platform they could be, does it mean that it only has to be based on subscription? And what are the typical modalities that people deploy? I know that there are several ways you can do this. You can also sell your license to a specific, let's say, education platform where it's just like bespoke for them. But what do you advise for somebody that is making an entry, it's just starting? Does it have to be subscription based, or they can just put it for free and just get revenue from adverts?
Okay.
So just if you can just do a little bit on that, that would be helpful.
All right. Okay. So there's a number of ways at which a gaming solution can be used to generate revenue. So one of which I recommend for entry-level developers is through Google Ads. So if you integrate Google Ads into your game and you deploy it on a Play Store, now for every player that downloads your game and watches the ad, you earn some sort of revenue from those Google ads. So let's say hypothetically you have 1,000 users currently that have downloaded your gaming solution, and if those 1,000 users watch those Google ads, you'd make about $1,000 if the Google ads is worth about 1,000, and if it's done for about, let's say, 30 days, you make about $30,000. So imagine what this could do. That's one way. You could also have some sort of in-app purchase. So in-app purchase is like more, you have some sort of advanced functionality integrated into your games that you know that the player would need in order to progress to the next level. So you could integrate those in-app purchases into your game. So when the player gets to a very, very difficult level and they try moving from, let's say, level 1 to level 2, they would have to somehow procure your in-app purchase in order to move to the next level. You could generate revenue from that. You could also get into a partnership with a publishing studio, and you guys can work out some sort of revenue medium with a publishing studio. That's one. You could host live events where attendees. Hello? Okay, thank you. All right, so you could also have live event where attendees would have to pay like a gated fee in order to attend and play like a certain advanced feature of your game. So these are just basic ways at which you can generate revenue with your game as a beginner game developer.
And this revenue, how does it usually come? Does it come in like Naira, or is it coming in dollars? I mean, what kind of
it actually comes,
talking about? Because I'm looking for how to really, and I think for me that's just the key, right? How does it create opportunity for us? How does it become an export channel for us? So what kind of dimension are you talking about?
So it comes in dollars. So for every in-app purchase, it's being done in dollars. All of the Google Play Store has their payment plan in USD, in dollars. If you're doing Google Ads, it comes in dollars. If you're doing in-app purchase, it comes in. The payout are always in dollars. So in this way, you're attracting more of the foreign revenue into our foreign reserve. So in this way, you're actually boosting the economy.
And the good part of it is that you might still be at home or enjoying your family values, your culture, and you're still earning the right kind of income.
Yes, exactly. So it runs 24/7. You just have to set it up, put in the right mechanism in place, and let it run by itself. So every person that downloads your game, watches the ads, it generates revenue, or does an in-app purchase, revenue is being generated. So it's more like a passive income that gets to grow over time.
Oh, excellent. So let's turn it a little bit from another angle. For everything that has good side of it, perhaps there might be the other side of the coin. Yeah. So just dwell a little bit about what you consider to be barriers to entry for this kind of for this industry. I know that people need to buy some super laptops and all that. So what do you think are the key barriers, and what do you think people can do aside joining camps or boot camps like the one you mentioned for STEM Academy to bypass this barrier to entry?
Yeah, so the barriers of entry, first of all, is perception. Like I did mention earlier, gaming is still being looked at as a form of a mindless endeavor. And although we currently have some institutions currently adopting game-based learning for better assimilation. I think that my perception is gradually changing, given that it's being adopted educationally. So I think if we have much change in that perception and more persons are able to at least open themselves to this opportunity, we would be able to move forward on that area of perception. Now, another way to look at is infrastructure. Yes, we have to look at the infrastructure that's currently in place. So infrastructure in terms of electricity, internet access. So you need like steady electricity in order to develop your solution, and you need like internet access to get the resource you need in developing your solution. Because if you're to, let's say, download the Unity engine, if you're working with Unity engine, you need about 7 gigabytes of data to download the Unity engine. And for you to download the 7 gigabytes of data, you need internet and electricity. And as regards the hardware, you need a high-end laptop. You need a high-end laptop of plus or minus. Okay, let me not put a value to it, but you just need a high-end laptop to run that Unity engine effectively to help you develop that gaming solution. So these are all of the key barriers, I think. And also competency. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay. I think good stuff here earlier. Listening all the things. So which means I think the idea around the how STEM Academy will pull up boot camps, I think are some of the things that could be put forward to cut out this barrier to entry so that more people will be able to participate. So let's now take it a little bit into the a bit lower part of the spectrum. You did mention Kodu, Scratch. Are these kind of applications easily taught in like primary schools, secondary schools? At what level can children or people really be able to start in this? Because from what you mentioned, I think you pick up your journey after graduation or while you are still in the university, you begin to see how creative you are and the kind of connection you had with music, art, and the likes of it. So are these skills like something that could be taught from like primary school? And if they are, just take us a little bit through what are those like the basic components around that, what kind of skills you want them to start picking from primary school so that they can grow up with this kind of skills?
Okay, thank you very much. So as regards the prerequisite for starting up game design, I think most of these tools are developed for beginners, especially looking at the younger audience. So if you're looking at Kodu and Scratch, it's been developed in a way whereby it can be adopted from, let's say, primary school, the lower level of primary school, from primary 1. There are projects and exercises being designed to fit that specific category. So it gives them more like a grounded understanding of what the whole process looks like. So they are much more, and those solutions do not really require high-end system to run. You can run it online. You can even run it with your tablet or your phone. So those tools are being built for a much more younger audience. And
so can I teach these younger ones things like storyboarding and the likes of it? Do you think it's something I can break it to that level?
Yes, of course. So the storytelling has to be brought into that level whereby they could storyboard their solution before they move into the prototype development. So yes, the storyboarding, the ideation, the problem solving, the divergent thinking and system thinking, all of this can be taught in that level using specific exercises tailored for that age range. So it's key they start developing these key skills at that early time before they get into a much more higher part.
Okay. So you did mention earlier, about a specific mentor you are also working with. Just in terms of context, how many of such game design labs do we have currently existing in Africa or Nigeria? If you can provide some context, and if you know a few of them, can you share with our audience so that they can also begin to look at? Because the amount of money you are calling is really interesting, 500 $500 plus million is massive. And this is just within the 100 and something billion dollars potential the market has. So who are the kind of players we see currently in the
Okay,
value
so
chain? How do you think people can come in?
okay, so the global revenue for the gaming industry, I did mention earlier, is $104 billion. And Africa only accounts for $590 million, which is less than 1%. So we have a few organizations already in the field. Most of them are not just Nigerian focused. We have, Kachiku? We have Maliyo Games that are currently in the space. So they are looking to grow the local talents just so they can leverage on this solution. And I think most organizations would also need to get into this space so that we can as well scale, because less than 1% is really, really not much. If we're able to attract more of this revenue into our economy, we would see it grow exponentially.
Fantastic. So I think we've been listening from Clifford Ajefo, who is a trained geologist by training, but now has picked up the
Okay. I also wanted to mention.
Design. Go ahead.
Okay, so there are also international studios looking to partner with studios in Africa. I think while I was speaking with one of my mentor, I think from EA Games also, the cost of running these studios internationally is actually much. The operational cost is much. So they are looking to leverage on one, the manpower in Africa, and two, the cost of running the studio in Africa is not as much as running it in the US or thereabout. So they are looking to partner with organizations in Africa that could develop these solutions and also support them to come up with their own narrative and join the market. So there are international studios looking to partner with African studios, especially in the area of running the studios. It's not so expensive running it in Africa, although Africa has its challenges, but it's not as expensive running it in Africa compared to outside.
Yeah. And I think it's good that you raise it. That Africa does provide massive potential. Our youth population is massive. And if you look at the next 5 to 10 years, Africa will be a leader in providing good manpower. But I think one of the key things that I think the manpower development needs to address is ethics and ethics generally around business ethics and work culture. Avoiding situations that become a little bit easy for some of those game labs. And I think that's one thing I like about the STEM Academy model, that they just not only teach the STEM, but then they also take time to teach the soft skills and then also the business ethics. So fantastic. So I think it's a good time now. We have just about 12 more minutes to wrap up. So maybe it's a good time for Teresa to come up with the additional quizzes. Well, I don't know if everything has been dished out. Teresa, over to you. You take the quizzes, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, once again, good afternoon, everyone. So the first question has gone up. If you can please help me, STEM Academy, if you can please help me project the slide that has the menti.com and the code, so that everyone can use the code to just go ahead to answer the other question. So there are just a few more questions. So once you answer that, we're done.
While the question is up and people are trying to get in, if there's anybody that has any question in the room, please don't fold my hand. I've seen a lot of very interesting people in the house. Some of them I know have been involved themselves in either teaching or developing content in game design. So please feel free to ask questions or to add your voice to any experience you may have had in this particular space. So feel free to come in, please.
Okay. Yeah, so please, you can just go ahead and that's the QR code on the screen. You can scan it, or you can go to menti.com and put in the code 8267 8267 1628. So once you answer the questions, that's all. And yeah, and we can go ahead with the questions that are coming on the chat. And the questions from YouTube would also be placed on the chat. So the questions are up, and for those that are already.
So Teresa, there's a question on the chat here. Please, if you can pick it up as well. Maybe I can read it as how do you go about putting your app on Play Store, and is there any fee that you need to pay annually for hosting the game? Mr. Clifford, please, if you can give us context, or anybody in the room that wants to contribute to that space, or any challenges or any experiences you may have encountered while trying to do this.
Okay, so to put your app on Play Store, there is really there's no fee, but the thing is that for every revenue that's generated, I think Google collects about 30% and you get 70. So that's how they make their money. So they actually encourage you to put your app on their store because they make money and you make money. So it's more like a partnership. For iOS, I think for iOS, you have to pay about $100 plus. You go through a series of verification, the whole Apple thing and all, before you go on to the iOS store. So I think that's just about it. I'll still check if it's about $100 for iOS because I haven't deployed to iOS yet. So Google is open. It's open to everyone. You have to go through some verification and all of those. But yeah, I think there's no fee for entry. You launch your app on Play Store. They take a certain percentage of the amount of revenue you generate. I think between 25 to 30%, and you keep your that 70%.
All right, fantastic. So in my mind, I thought, for example, before you can have a Play Store account, you may need to pay $10 or $15. I'm trying to remember that exactly, but it's something that we can check and verify and share the output with our audience, just like we're going to share all the slides as well, so that everybody has this information. Okay, good question, and thanks for the person that asked it. I think it's up timely as well. Okay. So I think since we don't have any questions from the audience, I think it's a good opportunity now maybe to Clifford, maybe give us any closing remarks, and then we can call it a day.
Okay, sorry, before Mr. Clifford goes for that, we have a winner for the quiz, so I just wanted to mention Tolu with 1,701 points. He's the winner. What's your surprise about?
Okay, excellent, and I think it's we can share that information. So if you have his contact, please we reach out with the small presents that we have. And I think
okay. So Tolu, please, you can just DM me on Zoom here with your details, your name, your number, and your email, so that we can contact you after today. Thank you.
Okay. There's another question also for an entrepreneur. How would game development help promote and boost my business? So how can you use game design to promote your business? Is there any opportunity you see in them, how businesses could use game design to promote their business?
Okay, yes. So the thing about game design, it all ties to gamification because there's more like a reward system to it. I will use an example for one of this, I think this smartwatch, I think they call them Fitbits. So what they do, they reward you with some points for every amount of steps that you take, which means they are gamifying you to actually lose weight. So if you could find a way to integrate gamification into your business, just so you could drive customer engagement, gamification in the sense whereby if your business is centered around, let's say, what's the term I'm looking for? If your business is centered around eating healthy, yeah, for every healthy meal the person eats that week, the person gains a point, and the point could be used to maybe redeem some sort of reward in your store. And let's say your business is actually a shop that sells healthy food. So you see, customers will patronize those healthy food just so they can gain some points to redeem some prizes. So there's a way you could integrate gamification into your business. You could also create games for your business that would also drive engagement with both your younger audience and also your customers.
And I think if you look at what has been happening with Roblox, quite a big number of big brands are creating Roblox games because it does require little coding and it helps them actually communicate certain things they want about their business. Recall what Clifford said at the beginning, that the core of every game is a story you are telling. And so if you could want to engage your audience, particularly the younger audience, and you are selling something that is really cool, and I think there is massive opportunity in there. You could create games that allows them to either unlock certain things or gain certain information. Particularly, just like you also did mention for the education sector, the gamification of learning is becoming really, because the younger generation do like to play games. So if I want them to remember the periodic table, for example, if I give them the way I learned it back 20, 30, 25 years ago, it becomes an issue for them. But if I gamify it and I allow them to mine the metals from the non-metals, remember the names and the symbols, trust me, they will learn it quicker. So it does. If you are a business, is education, you see now you use gamification for further engagement. I think there's a question from the chat. Teresa, if you can take it.
Okay. Are there any platforms or tools to gamify a business product? That's the question on the chat.
I think for me, what I know that it's been a bit these days is the Roblox. That I can't remember the exact brands, but I know there are one or two big brands, global brands, that have used it to enhance engagement with their customers because they are trying to target the youth, the younger generation, and they feel using that to educate them on their product is absolutely fantastic. And they put rewards there that at the end of the day, these younger ones may even end up even buying some of those either artifacts, images, or assets, whatever the case may be. So they make money out of it, but then they are using it basically for engagement. But probably what we need to do, Clifford, is to research a few of these platforms and maybe create a blog post with it so that we can share with everybody that participated in this session. But very fantastic question. I like it. Okay,
Right.
so I think, so you can do the closing and then, but maybe before we do that, we intend to make this engagement monthly. So our upcoming series will cover things like blockchain technology and how it can be deployed. We'll be also looking at IoT, drone technology, clean energy solutions, and the likes of it. So please do share your audience. And if you have any ideas or any individual you want us to bring up for this STEMinar 3.0 series, please reach out through myself, Clifford, Teresa, or anybody from the in the group, so that we can bring them in here and they can share their knowledge. Our attendance is a little bit not encouraging, but I hope the subsequent ones will be better than this. So yeah, Clifford, wrap up from you, and then we can call it a day.
All right. So I just wanted to revisit the question on a fee. So yes, I think Google has a one-time fee of $25, while the Apple $100 is like an annual fee, something you pay annually. So that's what you do to get your app on those stores, and you go through like a series of verifications to meet their required expectation. So the charge I would want to give everyone is this is like an unexplored market, and I think it has a lot that it can benefit everyone. Look into that can benefit everyone. Look into. Okay, looking to engage both the local and international markets. So I will encourage everyone to leverage on this current opportunity. Even though you do not have the required technical know-how, so long as you have a story to tell, and the story can be integrated into the game solution. So I think that's my charge for everyone. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, and then see you in the January edition of the STEM Academy seminar. And do enjoy, have a fantastic weekend, and then we see you next month. Have a good holiday with your families. Keep it safe. Avoid crowds if you could. And yeah, and see you in January. Thank you very much.